Hey, what's up, guys? Let me get the screen share going and we'll get started. Sorry I'm a little late. Well, about 2 minutes late, but I guess better late than never. Yeah, just kind of gonna get some things situated here. You can go ahead and start putting your questions in the comment section. Looks like we have one already. It's already about a crash tank. Starting the live stream off positive. But yeah, so hey, hopefully you guys enjoyed the additional content this week. Let me know what you think about the shorts. I not just those shorter videos that I uploaded last week. Let me know what you think about those. If you want more of those videos, I can post them. There's always something going on I could share with you guys. As for the two other videos, yeah, let me know what you think. I can keep making stuff. Hey, what's up, Peter? Let's do an audio check and see how everything is. On my end, I'm seeing the little bars moving, so I'm assuming audio is fine. And yep, I see it on the app as well. So yeah, so go ahead and start putting your questions in. They can be reef related, they can be non-reef related. At this point, I don't think it really matters. We're gonna run the live stream probably for maybe about a half an hour or so, depending on how well it goes. I know last week we ran for like an hour and a half, and yeah, we just had questions. So if the questions keep rolling in, I'll keep going either until my voice gives out or until yeah, we run out of questions. But trying to think announcement wise, I don't think audio is good. Hey, thanks, Peter. I don't have anything. That's the first. No announcements. There's not really any kind of giveaways or anything going on this month. I did mention that there's a frag swap. There's two of them actually. There's one this month, and then there's one in November. I'll put out separate videos for you guys to see that and kind of figure out what you want to do if you want to go to those here in Pennsylvania. But other than that, I don't really have any more announcements. So let's go ahead and get started. First question here, Joshua. My tank is crashing as we speak. I lost my mandarin and clownfish already. Any way to save my tank? Well, I kind of have to know more information than that. I mean, there's 100 different reasons why your tank could possibly be crashing. If you're in the chat right now, I got some questions and we can come back to this. What's going on? Is it an algae outbreak? Do you have just a bunch of die off? Did the corals just all of a sudden start bleaching out? Did you have temperature drops? I mean, what's going on that's causing it to be a crash or you to think it's crashing? You said your mandarin and clownfish are dead, or you already lost them. So I'm thinking maybe did something get in the tank? I don't know. So I'm going to need some more information if you want me to answer the question, because I can't really give you any advice based on that. The shorts are good. YouTube should create a schlong. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Peter, was it you that mentioned last week that you wanted to do? You're from Canada and you wanted to do the shipping. I know I got a couple different emails from people, so I just have to decide who I'm going to go with to set up that shipping outside the United States. Also, somebody reached out to me and asked if they could buy the STL files for the CO2 attachments. Um, those are not available. I'm sorry. I don't sell any of my STL files or anything that I personally create. Um, yeah, I just don't do it. So I apologize for that. Oh, you sent that email today? Okay, I'll have to check and see. Yeah, I'll check and see. Did you let me know what you want? Did you put in there what you wanted to actually order? That way I can get the invoice and get those particular items set up so you can check out with them and see if it works. But yeah, just let me know, or I'll let you know. I'll check it out here in a little bit. But other than that, I'm trying to think here. We're just still waiting for people to come in. I didn't get any notification on my phone yet. Sitting here, nothing. I even signed up for notifications. But I will admit, my channel is doing slightly better now that I've relocated those roast my reef videos off the channel. Just got them to another one. Things are looking a little bit better. Oh, yep. I sent the items and sizes, etc. Okay. Okay, cool. Man, the chat is majorly delayed. It usually doesn't come up first on StreamYard. Okay, so yeah, I'll check that out. I'll get that set up. So what I'm going to do is I will take those items and I will set them to be shipped to Canada, and then you'll be able to check out. Before you check out, we'll kind of go back and forth. I want you to send me a screenshot of the shipping price because I don't want it to be ridiculous. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm going to try to stay with like flat rate kind of stuff, but yeah, we'll figure that out later in the next couple days. What's up, Aaron? Here we go. Bryops. Okay, here we go. We're back. Oh no, that's not him. Okay, Bryopsis. I have it, and it uh, does get bad at times. Advice to get rid of it. Bryopsis, isn't it? Yeah. So a lot of people cure that stuff with elevated magnesium levels. So did you check your mag? Are you really low? Because I find that if you get lower magnesium levels, you tend to have that pop up. I know that one way of taking care of it. I can double check, but I'm almost 100% is bryopsis is with elevated magnesium. I'm not talking crazy levels, but people around 1600 have been successful with that, and you should be fine. You won't have any issues with your cleanup crew or snails or anything to your upwards of about 2000, 1900 to 2000 ppm of magnesium. So if you stay around the 1600 mark, which is just a little bit elevated compared to the standard like 1450, but yeah, I'm almost positive that bryopsis is taken care of with elevated magnesium. Let's see here. Hey, what's up, guys? Now we got people rolling in. Cool. Yeah, I still haven't got the notification. It's weird. Hi from Denmark. How do you get the little D and the K in there? Is that just part of the keyboard you got going on over there or something? But hey, what's up? I do feel bad. There's a lot of you guys who are outside the United States that support the channel and want to support it via 3D printing stuff. I'm working on it. If you just got in here, I'm working on it with Peter, and hopefully we can start in Canada and then work our way out to different countries and kind of get through the whole export process. Do all the 3D mounts for the power blocks come with Velcro, especially the AI Prime ones? No, the only ones that come with Velcro are the universal mounts. I think I have 3 or 4 different type of universal mounts. But the ones that are specifically made for like AI Prime, the A360X, the late but here, it's all right, Andrea. So anything that's labeled for a specific power block or brick has its own clips built in. So when you go to put the power supply in, it will clip around it and hold it in place. So you don't need Velcro. I just have the Velcro on the universals because, again, it's universal. You can get away with different size power bricks as long as it fits on the base. Let's see what we got here. Hey Hex, how do you like the overflow from custom aquariums? I have been looked at them and I'm not sure about them. Your thoughts about them would be great. Okay, so the overflow box itself and the concept is really good. The H2 like screen, um, if you've been here for a while, I actually replaced it with my own version, which I can't sell. So don't ask. We're kind of gone down that rabbit hole already. There's a patent on it, so I can't sell it. But yeah, so the teeth themselves need to be kind of fixed, but overall the concept is really good. The H2 overflow is actually a really good design, and the whole concept of being able to remove it and clean it and take care of it and adjust it is really great. Pretty low profile. You can hide it underneath pretty much anything. I mean, if you have like bracing going across the tank and you're close enough to that, you can actually like hide it underneath there. And it does free you up to kind of create your own if you so choose. But yeah, I mean, I have no issues with it. The overflow box is completely fine in the back. It never overflows. As long as you plumb it correctly, it's not going to make any noise. And yeah, so I have no issues with the overflows other than the fact that the teeth can be pretty brittle. But then again, you can come up with your own method if you want. Just subscribed a few days ago. Love the content of your channel. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, sorry if I sound a little dry today. I don't know what it is. It's been raining like throughout the afternoon, but man, just kind of, I don't know. Maybe it's just allergies or something. I actually just took a 2-hour nap because I'm like, I got to get some kind of power nap to kind of make it to the live stream tonight. I ended up missing class this afternoon because of it, but it's okay. Dan, you're at 1500 mag, so yeah, you might want to go up to like 1600. But before you do that, Dan, you might want to also double check to verify that is the correct method. I know there's a couple of them, but I just haven't dealt with bryopsis in forever, like back in the 120 125, however long ago that was. So you might want to double check that before you start elevating anything. What's up? What is the best way to lower phosphates that are locked in my rock? I've done 90% water changes on my tank, and the phosphates keep leaching like crazy from the rock. This is something I dealt with when I set up my second saltwater tank. So when it was a 125, so officially my largest at the time saltwater tank. I actually bought rock off of Craigslist, which I mentioned in a couple of videos. Like one of the biggest regrets I had as a beginner, something like that. Maybe that will be a video. Who knows? But along the lines of that, so what I did is I purchased rock off of Craigslist, and it was in a tank for 10 years. And I don't know what part of my brain thought that was okay. So it was relatively cheap. I got a ton of it for almost nothing. The problem is exactly what you got going on there. So I don't know if you bought used rock or not, but so what happened is I leached nitrates and phosphates out of that rock to the point that I actually just had to get rid of the rock and start over. So I don't know to what extreme you got going on there. You didn't mention your levels of how high the phosphates are if you're dealing with cyano. I'll tell you right now, with the amount of nitrates and phosphates we're leaching out of my rock, my entire tank turned red from the amount of cyano. It was crazy. And then, I went through, maybe I'll get a bigger skimmer. Maybe I'll do more water changes. Maybe I will do this, do that. I won't feed as much. And it all just came down to the rock being extremely dirty. So I guess it's kind of situational dependent there. But if you're constantly leaching elevated levels and it's coming from your rock, you might want to consider getting new rock. You don't have to replace all of it at one time. You can get, maybe do a quarter of it at one time, and depending on your aquascape. But yeah, it's up to you on that. You just kind of have to weigh out if you're doing huge water changes. Not only is that expensive, you can just buy new rock, but you're also causing stress to the system doing such large water changes just to only remove a little bit of it and to have it come back. So take that in consideration. If it was me, I would just start curing some new clean dry rock now, curing it outside the tank, and then once it is cured, you can go ahead and swap it out. So that's what I would do. Long answer to that question. Greetings from Boston. I used to live in Boston back when I was a teenager in technically Boston's Brookline, but yeah, I almost missed that city. But hey, welcome to the show. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Hey, what's up, guys and girls, wherever you are? Appreciate you being here. Late but here. That's good. Got the notification. Cool, Matt. What does it mean when 4 frog spawn heads shrink, but the other 5 heads are fine? Hmm. Well, are those 4 heads together, or is it just 4 different heads all over the actual colony? If they are the 4 heads right next to each other, that almost sound like 4 heads, but yeah. So if it's the 4 individual heads that are right next to each other, then you have to see what's causing it. As in, is there a is there something bothering it? Do you have like a cleanup crew or a fish or something picking at those particular ones? Are they shaded out? Are they not getting enough flow? Because you'll find that when colonies start growing, especially of LPS, when they start getting so big that you have heads that are kind of pointing down, not getting enough light, not getting enough flow, they start to die off. It's just kind of how the reef grows. As the coral gets bigger, the bottom of the coral dies off, and then it turns into rock, and then that's how the ocean essentially grows. So if those 4 heads are all in the same area and they're kind of shaded out, pointed down, not getting enough flow, you're not getting enough light, then that could be why. And you can consider maybe fragging the colony or even relocating it if you want to try to save it. But if there's no brown jelly or any kind of slime or anything, they're not puking up or causing any discharge from the that sounded kind of weird, any kind of like discharge or anything coming from the mouths of the individual heads, then I wouldn't be concerned of like brown jelly or anything. Another thing you want to look at, if none of those things apply to it, is look at the colony at night. Maybe you have some rogue emerald crab or something going in there picking at it. Who knows? Maybe you have a fish that doesn't like it. But yeah, other than that, if there's no major water changes, or not, or sorry, not water changes, but any kind of um, fluctuations or anything that major that happened to the tank, I wouldn't really worry about it too much. One thing that I've learned about SPS reef tanks is you can't, or even mixed reefs at that, you can't make every coral happy. It's just the way it is. You just can't. There's always going to be some kind of shading, flow issues, blockage of light. There's always going to be something that causes one coral or another not to be happy. If the majority of the tank is happy, don't make sacrifices to make another coral that just is pissed off. You don't sacrifice the whole tank's overall well-being to make a coral happy. So there's something I picked up along the way. He says it's been like that for about 2 weeks. Yeah, so just try everything that I mentioned, and yeah, let us know either next live stream or hit me up via email. All right, William, have you ever used CChem Phosgar to remove silicate to help with I don't know if I can say that word. Is this a viable product? I have to look for that word is, man. I feel like an idiot, but let's check it out. We're gonna play Captain Google today. It'd be cool. Maybe get an app to say it for me properly. do. Listen, guys, if you've been here for a while, I'm the first person to tell you. Oh, just diet. Well, you just say diatoms, dude. Oh, that's a food right there. Just make sure I verify it. Yeah, I don't know why that came with that. If anybody wants to know, type of powder made from sediment to fossilized algae fossils and bodies of water. Uh, because the cells of these algae are high in compound. Okay, I don't know what the hell that is. What the hell is this? I want to put this on the screen, but I'm afraid like something bad's gonna pop up. I get demonetized. Let me just look at. I'm looking at see what it says here. It's just crushed rock, stuff like that. I don't know what the hell this shit is, man. I mean, I put in exactly what we said, and it's coming up with a powder that kills bugs. I was gonna say what I think you meant to say, maybe diatoms. You can verify that in the comment section. But if we'll just pretend you were talking about diatoms, just to kind of help. I've never used the C-Chem Phosgar to remove any kind of silicates or anything. I've never done that before. I tend to not use anything like GFO or the Phosgar or anything like that because it tends to go a little bit beyond what you're looking for and causes further issues. If you want to, William, if you want to verify what I said to make sure that we're talking about the same thing, that would be great. Because my Google search came up with some kind of powder that kills bugs. So, and that is not obviously related to the reef tank. So maybe it was a spelling or something, or whatever. But yeah, so I've never used any of that stuff to remove. If we're talking about diatoms, I kind of just let that play out. As long as your tank is cycled and your rock is cured, it's going to go away on its own. It's just kind of part of the process. Yes, diatoms. Okay, auto spelled. Okay, I was going to say, yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Cool. Well, I'm glad it auto spelled a word that I can't even pronounce correctly. But yeah, so diatoms. Yeah, okay. I'm not sounding shit out. You want me to sound stuff out here on the live stream? That's good. That's a great way. Someone's gonna make a video of, hey, let's see. I bet somebody could go through all my videos and just pick out all the words that I say or not inappropriate, not correctly, and then just put them all together in one video. It'd be interesting. Mm-hmm. Oh man, that seltzer sucks. Ugh. That is not good. It's like a lemon. Yeah. But yeah. So like I said, when it comes to diatoms, I don't really use anything to get rid of them. I let them go. And do I clean? You guys clean your diatoms? No, I do not. That stuff just goes away. It really, if your tank is cycled and your rock is cured, it's going to go away relatively quickly. Yeah, so I really wouldn't worry about it too much. A lot of people freak out with diatoms, but it's really not that big of a deal. That came in twice. What's up, Salty Reef? Okay. Tips for lowering nitrates, but not phosphates. NO3 20 PO4 is 0.06. So I would dose a little bit more of your phosphates. It's kind of like a little bit of a balancing act. There is a ratio between the two, but you can dose a little bit more of your phosphates to kind of help balance things out. And then you got to figure out where the source of your nitrates are. Is it in your food? Is it your water, all that kind of stuff? It's kind of the same process that we use when it comes to looking for the source for algae. But yeah, you definitely can get away with dosing a little bit of PO4 to get the levels up a little bit higher, since they are kind of below what I would recommend. Usually 0.07 is 0.15, and if you want to just do 0.1 is probably a good set point for you, cue ball. And then, of course, the ratio will be different between the two, which might help with lowering the nitrates overall. And then, again, you can just kind of look into what's causing the excess nitrates in the first place. But yeah. I mean, I wouldn't go out and do any kind of crazy water changes because you will be removing phosphates. And the last thing you want to do is plummet one and then, have issues with that. So, Jason, 100-gallon mixed reef, 60-gallon anemone cube, shared sump, about 900 gallons per hour mixed reef, 400 gallons per hour in a cube. Rock, same age, sand in both, red cyano in the cube only. Any thoughts as to what? Well, the overall flow in that cube is probably less. What do you got for power heads? You said about 900 gallons per hour mixed reef. 400 gallons per hour in a cube. Is that going to be from the return pump, or is that from like power heads that you calculated? I'm guessing. I'm going to guess power heads. Not a lot of us calculate the return pump, but yeah. So you have less flow in there. Obviously, it's a different rock structure. Cyano tends to go in low flow areas, and if that happens to be that tank happens to have the lowest flow, the more dead spots compared to the 100 gallon, then yeah, that's where you're going to have the cyano. So first things first, just figure out why you have the elevated phosphates. Again, it kind of goes back to what I mentioned before. You want to look in and see where you're getting those elevated phosphates, water, fish. Usually, when it comes to phosphates, the most common source of it is fish food. A lot of flake foods, a lot of pellets have a really, I guess, phosphates primarily come from nori and green algae and kind of stuff like that we feed. So, if you're getting higher phosphates, it usually 9 out of 10 times is from the food. So, at least in my experience, from when I make my own food and I overfeed and all that kind of stuff. But so what I would do is manually remove the cyano as much of it as you can. Do a water change. If you want to try the chemi clean, that stuff works pretty good. But again, that's a band aid. I mean, it's not an end all be all solution. But if you want to get rid of it relatively quickly, you can use chemi clean, and then just you still have to find the source. Okay, you can't just leave it at chemiclean. There's a lot of people who just dose that stuff on a regular basis, and whenever they get cyano, and they think everything's fine, but it's really not. You're just kind of band-aiding the situation. So I would increase the flow in the cube, um, move around, move power heads to get rid of dead spots, manual removal of the cyano. You could try chemiclean, and then find the source of the excess phosphates. That would be my recommendation. Jason said here you have just the sump. Okay, 2 Nero 5s in in the cube and 4 gyres in the mixed reef. Okay, so yeah, so that's just the sump. Okay, yeah, everything I mentioned. Just give it a shot. Let me see here. Let me get down. Next question. All right, Salty Dad. I have a large orange Monty cap taking up a lot of real estate. Tempted to glue an acro on top of it. What do you think? I don't think that's a good idea. Because they're going to fight each other immediately. If anything, you'll probably end up killing off the acro relatively quickly, because not only are you gluing it to the top of it, it's got to. I mean, the acro is going to have to lay out a base before it feels, I guess, quote unquote comfortable to kind of start growing up. So if it's coming into immediate contact with competition and a battle with a Monty cap, it's probably not going to do well. So what you can do is just go in there and break off chunks of it and sell it to your friends, or bring it to the local fish store for credit or whatever. But I would definitely not attempt to glue any coral on top of it, unless a section of that coral is already dead, and then yeah, you can put it on there. It's not going to do anything. Finally able to catch live stream. COVID has his first benefit. Okay, cool. Yeah, Rob. I don't know if you put in 2 orders, right? I'm pretty sure you got the first invoice that I sent you, right? And then yeah, we got to set that up to get that out, and just the name popped in. So okay, let's see. What are big major things you would tell beginner coral owners to watch out for when starting out? Okay, so the biggest thing I tell people is just buy coral that you're comfortable with. I wouldn't go out and spend a bunch of money on acropora if you're just starting out and you are, dipping your toes into soft coral. So that'd be the first thing. Don't buy coral outside your experience range. And if you decide to do that, kind of go with cheaper, lower end types of coral. So let's say you're just been doing soft corals for a long time. You want to upgrade to SPS, kind of start off with like a Monty cap or a digitata or something easy and cheap, like a stylophora or something like that. But so that'd be the first thing. The next thing I would say is make sure you are getting your coral from a place that doesn't have any pests. I mean, little things that we don't think about. You buy a bunch of Montes and you think, cool, great, but then you get a Montepora eating nudibranch and he wipes out the entire thing. So make sure you're getting coral from places that you can verify have no pests on the coral or within the coral or any issues like that. I know it can be difficult, but just kind of do your best. Now, when it comes to purchasing a coral, say you want to buy Montepora, I would look up not only everything that goes into taking care of it, lighting and all that kind of stuff before you buy it, but also what kind of pests are pretty common. That way, you know what to look for when you're purchasing it. You can look under the frag and then all that kind of stuff. Now, if you are just kind of starting out, I highly doubt you have coral quarantine tank. But if you're a baller and you want to go 100, then yeah, you probably have a coral quarantine tank. So you would obviously put all your corals in there to observe them before you put them in your main display. So yeah, that's basically it. Make sure you stay within your range of expertise. Make sure you are looking out for pests and buy from a reputable source, and make sure you have coral quarantine if you so choose. Now I know it's not realistic for a lot of people who are just starting out, who are just setting up a new tank to have coral quarantine, but it's definitely recommended that you do for sure. And the reality is that if you don't have coral quarantine, you might get away with it for a couple of years, but there will be at some point in the future, if you continually buy coral, you will get something that is going to really mess with you in your day and hopefully not destroy your whole tank. That's just, it's Russian roulette. That's all it is. When you're buying fish and you're not quarantining them, and you're buying coral and you're not quarantining them, and you're putting everything together in this glass box in the middle of your house, it's literally Russian roulette. Eventually, you're going to get the bullet, and that's it. So, yep. All right. Hey, Travis, what's your opinion on light pars? Online, it recommends 350 or so for SPS, I believe, but I believe you are pushing 400, 500, correct? Okay, yeah. So on the 300, I have ranges of par. So at the top of the tank, it's like 900 and something, where I have a few colonies sticking out that Big Bertha has yet to, what's up, Gabe? Have yet to destroyed. And yeah, so I have pretty hard. It's pretty high. So 900 par, something like that. And then at the bottom of the tank is 250. So what I recommend people do is if you want an SPS tank, stay within a specific range. So for the lowest portion of your tank, I would never go below 250. I've been pretty successful growing a lot of corals in that range, 250. Now, of course, the growth isn't going to be as high and the coloration might not be as great, but you can get away with taking care of SPS and 250, no problem. Now, what you want to do is you want to stay within a range. So at the bottom where you intend to have those SPS is at 250. And then at the top point, I really wouldn't go any higher than 500. At least because you need to understand when a coral starts off at an inch on the top of a rock structure and it's 500 par, yes, it's 500 par there, but that coral has to grow. So as it grows, of course, it's going to be going towards the light. The light intensity is going to increase, just like I have now. The coral started at 500-ish par, and now they're at 800, 900 par, given the growth. So just take that into consideration. Now, of course, the coral will adjust to the lighting as it grows. It's not like a drastic or any issue with that. But yeah, so I would say 350 is a good set point for most SPS. 400, 500 is kind of where I like to stay, and you're correct on that. So, yep. What did I miss a question here? Okay, yeah. So okay, Salty. So I did answer your question already. I placed an order and verified through shop, but I haven't received a confirmation email. It doesn't show up on my shop. Am I doing it wrong? What's the order number, Algae Warrior? Or what's the name? I can look now. Hopefully you're here. Just put in, if you have the order number, put it in. Let me pull up my website here and see if I can find it. But yeah, the shop is something I just added to the site a couple months ago, which allows people to make payments and all that kind of stuff. But last name Bates. Let me look. Bates. Yep, I see here 54. Did it go through shop? You use the promo code that I sent for the review, right? Let me see if it shows the shop. I'm not seeing the shop, but I see the card. So yeah, so you're in here. Your order's actually being printed right now. I'm doing the Hannah checker right now. So, yeah, you're in here, buddy. You're in here. First name Norman. It's not Norman, but it'd be pretty cool if it was though. But yeah, you're good, buddy. I don't know about the shop. I haven't seen any payments come through on it, but it says there's a card attached to it. So I don't know. But other than that, yeah, your order's in there. I can after we get out of here, if you want to email me or whatever, I can forward over a confirmation. But yeah, you're in there, bud. Yep. Yeah, and speaking of that, guys, so when it comes to orders and stuff, I'm actually doing pretty well. The only thing that I'm behind on are custom orders, just because they just take a while. There's different overflow boxes and different things that you guys request. They just take a little while, but everything else regarding 3D printing is usually only about a week right now, 2 weeks max for 99%. Now, if you're putting in a $200 or $300 order of 3D printing, which shout out to those of you who do that. It's going to take me a little while to print out 40 items, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, we're doing pretty good, so appreciate it. Okay, I can't wait every day for the lights to come on so I can see my reef tank. I miss those days. I I miss that thrill, that excitement. It's like a new relationship. Like, oh, I love you. I mean, everything's so great for like the first 2 months, and then you roll over on the third month, and you're like, oh, you're still here. I'm just playing. That's like years. That's not months, but yeah. Yeah. Just want to make sure you're tracking. Yeah, I got you, buddy. Algior, your brother's name is Norman Bates. That's awesome. First name should be Master. Okay, we're done. We're not going down that road. Anyways, yes, Diatoms, we took care of that. I'm not sounding shit out, Andrea. Phone's going up. You guys clean your diatoms. We talked about that. Did I like go back in time or did I miss something here? All right. What's up, Marcus? All right. So we got the sump question that's done. Ever thought about printing tank lids? Well, I mean, if the tank is small enough, I have a I don't know, like a 13-inch by 13-inch, something like that printer bed. So yeah. His middle name is Master. Okay. All right. Let's just keep going here, guys. But man, it's a blessing and a curse to have that name. It's pretty funny though. But yeah, so when it comes to the tank lids, I mean, I print out different things that you guys can use like on the screen, mesh ports and all that kind of stuff, but I don't actually do lids because it has to be clear. Like acrylic is ideal for lids just because it's clear, lets most of the light through, also keeping the moisture, not moisture, is that the word I'm looking for? The evaporation down, all that kind of stuff. So 3D printing a lid for a tank, it's just not going to be ideal. Like I could print a rim portion, like the portion where you would attach to the rim or something like that, and then you can put a screen over it or a screen in between it. Like I could do that, but an entire lid is probably not going to be a good idea. Um, I probably will move into acrylic down the road. Also, do some laser sketching and all sorts of stuff. There's a lot of different things I want to try now that I've kind of been, balls deep in this 3D printing stuff. But I just don't have the room to add another machine if I wanted to, so that's gonna have to wait. Yeah, I got the invoice. I added a couple extra. Use my review discount. Okay, cool. All right, yeah. That should go out next week, Monday, most likely Monday or Tuesday. I got a yesterday. I did like 15 core orders yesterday, which is quite a bit with everything going on. So I got those out plus like 30 or 32 or something, 33. I don't know, something like that. Of 3D printing orders went out yesterday too. So it was a pretty busy day. And then someone was giving me shit because my fish room was too dirty. Ugh, if you guys only knew. All right, what's up, Gabe? Fish of Hex. I was talking to a friend about skimmers and CO2 scrubbing adapted cups. He referred me to a video called Two Girls with One Cup. This is why I wish I could read ahead of my voice. He referred me to a video called Two Girls, One Cup, but I'm not sure that cup would very effective. Seen it? God damn. That video gives me the creeps. That video makes me God. You're giving me oh man, I've seen the video and I'm not a fan. Not a fan of that stuff. Like like ATM, not a fan of that either. Like I just no, no. But thanks, Marcus. Thanks. Not a fan. I'm just not a fan of that stuff. Like, I mean, no. Like, God, it's just, you just think of something and oh, dear Jesus, Marcus, there you go. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, masturbates. Don't look that up. Yeah, guys, don't look that up. No friggin' way. How do you guys like the new emojis and icons for those of you who are members? I did add a dick emoji. I don't know how you guys use them. Let me see if I can try one. Can I use one? Oh, here we go. So I added this one. I thought that was a pretty cool emoji. This is another one. These are exclusive to members only. This one's pretty common. And then I added this one, and then my favorite, this one. This emoji's taken off its bra, but I'm definitely a big fan of this one. Fuck it. So yeah, those are exclusive to Fish of Hex Aquatics. There we go, Gabe. Oh, oh man. There we go. Oh man, you guys are killing me already. How long have we been here? 35 minutes. We're gonna wrap this shit up soon. Okay. I have a Holy Grail torch that's losing its gold but keeping purple. What could be causing this? I do know that the last time I tested water, 5 p.m. nitrates, 1 ppm phosphates. Okay, so your nitrates and phosphates are fine. Lighting. Lighting is a pretty big factor when it comes to just to use a dick emoji. Yeah, lighting is a pretty big factor when it comes to coloration. This is the same thing with Acropora. If you're not getting a certain spectrum on your lights, which I don't know where you're using, Dan. I'm assuming you have good lights, considering the fact you have a Holy Grail torch. I'm assuming you have good lights. But it might not be getting the amount of light that it wants. But your nutrients seem to be fine. What I would do before you make any changes, Dan, is I would run an ICP test just for shits and giggles. Just get an idea of what you got going. I got to send mine out too. But do an ICP test. Just see if there's anything that might be missing in the water column. And if it's not, if everything is where it should be and your nutrients are actually where they should be, which you might want to double check, maybe consider getting different test kits just to see or calibrate or whatever you got to do, then you might consider maybe increasing the lighting, or even vice versa, bringing it down depending on what par it's currently at. You're going to have to kind of see what works for you. But um, yeah, mine grows fine, but the color's not there. So yeah, you should do the PAR test. I would do the ICP test as well, Dan. Again, just before you make any major changes, it's always good to see kind of where you're at, and then go from there. But you gotta, I mean, I'm assuming you have good lights, dude. You're paying that kind of money for a torch. Dan says, I've been battling, same guy, been battling algae and have finally got rid of it. Now trying to get my phosphates down. Okay, so what it could be is your coral was just had too many. You just had too many nutrients in the tank. Um, if you haven't been stable at those 5 ppm and that 1 ppm, if you haven't been stable with that and you've been actually battling algae, that's probably what's going on. With the excess nutrients in the tank, the algae was growing, which in turn was causing the tank to have lower nutrients, which could be messing with the color, paling out the color of your corals. I've seen it 1,000 times. So I wouldn't do anything but the ICP test, get your nutrients stable, keep them stable, get the algae out, give it some time alongside with the ICP test again before you make any kind of like lighting changes or dosing shit. So yeah. Now that you said you were dealing with algae, I'm pretty positive that that's the issue. Yeah. Because you guys got to think too, when algae's in your tank, right? Yeah, you had elevated nutrients, but the algae's usually using up most of the nutrients in the water column, depending on how severe it is. I mean, there are cases where people have a forest of green hair algae and still have a ton of nutrients on their test kits. But in most times, when you have a lot of algae, your test kits aren't reading properly because of it. You found it. Good job, Cue Ball. uh, good job with the emojis. But yeah, so when you have that algae in the tank, it really causes the rest of the tank to suffer because it's using up those vital nutrients that those corals need to have color and grow and thrive. So yeah, algae is a huge pain. Cool, we took care of that with Mr. Bates. Is it annoying when someone orders something and never gives you the info you need to make it? No, Gabe, because you're doing that right now. I know. I listen, dude. I know you got stuff going on. I'm not worried about it. Man, that freaking dog, dude. Every time I see her, yeah, there you go, the dick emojis. Speaking of you, every time I see that damn dog, I want to pet it. Anyways, but yeah, so you can send your stuff in. Just let me know whenever if you want to. I mean, I have people who did custom orders from 2 months ago and still haven't sent me any stuff. That's cool. I mean, I work only as fast as you guys want to hook me up here. Norman is his brother. All right. So if I just got a tank kit with light, how do I check par on my light that's only white and blue? Okay, so you got to get a par meter. You can rent one from like Bulk Reef Supply. I don't know if they're the only company that rents them, or you can buy a Senai Reef, which has a built-in par meter, which I use. It's relatively cheap. I think the Senai Reefs are like $100, right? Can somebody verify that? I'm pretty sure they're like $100. They're pretty cool. I mean, I use it on client tanks. I use it for my tank when I'm setting it up. But yeah, you can check your par with that. I don't know. You said tank kit with lights. I don't know what light you got. I mean, if you have red, white, and blue, is it just like the little LEDs, like the little mini ones that you get at Home Depot, or not Home Depot, but at Petco, that kind of light? Um, yeah, I mean, you can just run a par meter or buy a Senai Reef. 200. All right, cool. My dogs are acting crazy downstairs. All right, we talked about that video. Moving on with that. Stirring the No, definitely not a fan. Okay, Marcus. We can all take bets that you are a fan, and it's cool. All right. I just checked my pH against the 7.0 standards, 3/10 off. Oh, Caleb, you changed your icon. Didn't you? I mean, you changed your thing on Instagram too. Are you doing like another marathon or something? Let me know. Oh, that's me. I was like, who the hell's putting all this shit on there? That's me. I like my fish. Oh, okay. Yeah, the icons for being a member. It upgrades. I think the top member is Bruce from Finding Nemo. I'm pretty sure it is. It's the shark. Did you say you want to pet your dog, not your dong? I mean, if you're paying, we can always make an exception, but that's for another day. I'm joining just to use the dick emoji. Yeah, I don't think you can get that anywhere else. All right, here we go here. All right. Travis, I'm trying to get my channel back on track with YouTube. Oh yeah, that's me. Are you saying that I'm saying that? And then you guys bring up 2 girls, 1 cup. Yeah, you guys are not helping. Appreciate it though. Not while we're here. That's so true. It's all right. As long as I'm good, and unfortunately, if I have to remove some pretty bad stuff from the comment section, I mean, I don't remove, bad things people say towards me, but if things are, oh, we're yawning, man. Man, it feels like 12 o'clock already. If somebody says something pretty crazy, I got to remove it, unfortunately. All right, here we go. How would you recommend to get Aptasia off a clamshell so I can transfer it to a new tank? I would take it out and brush that damn thing off, and then I don't know, if you have a quarantine tank, that'd probably be a good idea. Because if there's one Aptasia, there's probably more that you don't see. I would definitely 100% quarantine that clam shell for sure. Yeah, Aptasia. I mean, it's not a huge deal. I mean, Aptasia doesn't really kill anything. It's just a pest, an enemy. It's an eyesore. I mean, they're not horrible, but I mean, I guess on a grand scheme of pests that you could potentially have, and Aptasia is not the worst thing in the world. But yeah, I would still quarantine it even after removing it just to make sure. All right, so we helped Dan with that, took care of that. We got more dick emojis. Montipora eating nudibranch advice. Ugh, man, let me grab a drink. I'm gonna clear my throat for this one. It's a pretty nice dog. What kind of dog is that? Can't see. It's like I don't know. It's pretty cute though. If you guys can tell, I like dogs. I got 2 of my own. I got a chocolate lab and a yellow lab. Both assholes, but I love them. Anyways, okay, so Montipora eating nudibranch advice. Where do we start? Okay, so if you actively have them in your tank right now and you're not in quarantine tank with them, so if they're in your main display, okay, so the first thing I would do is get yourself some RASes and start quarantining them immediately. This is not an end all be all solution, but they're really going to help slow the rate in which these jokers will devastate your tank and hopefully keep them under control to the point where they're eating them as fast as they're kind of hatching from their eggs and not being able to continue to reproduce and spawn eggs and stuff. So that's the kind of the goal I'm going for here. So get yourself a few RASes. I don't know how big your tank is. I don't know how many Montipora eating nudibranchs you have. I don't know how long you've been dealing with this, but I'll tell you now, if you have a pretty decent sized tank, get yourself a decent amount of wrasses. Melanora's wrasses are pretty sweet. 6-line wrasses are pretty good at that as well. Excuse me. The yellow coarse wrasse is also pretty good at that. So wrasses, I would get them because they're going to focus on those specifically, especially at night. They're going to be picking at them, and or in the evening before they go to sleep. But yeah, they'll be really going to town on them. On top of that, I would, if you can, remove the actual colony. So say you have a Montipora cap that's on a rock, just say in the middle of your tank. If you're able to remove that entire colony and put it in quarantine, I would do it. Especially if you have other Montiporas within that tank that have yet to be infected by the nudibranchs. Remove them and remove that colony and put in quarantine. What I would do from there is scrub the base with a toothbrush. Look for, you're not going to see the eggs. It's going to be difficult depending on what kind of coral it is, what Monty it is, but they'll lay their eggs underneath at the base between the rock and the coral, just the nooks and crannies. You'll see them in there. You can go ahead and you can spray them out with a spray bottle. You can turkey base them out while you're dipping them, while you're dipping the colony. You can toothbrush the base to get the eggs off. Again, it's going to be difficult to a certain extent. And then that coral goes in quarantine for a long time, and also put a wrasse or two in your quarantine tank to help with that. Montipore eating nudibranchs are almost as bad as the acropore eating flatworms. Almost as bad. They're just, they're just two really shitty pests. But yeah, so I don't really know. You haven't really said much. I'm looking to see if you say anything additional. I'm trying to see here. She's a Great Dane cross big girl. Okay. I'm waiting to see if you say anything about what I've said so far. If you want to add any more to it, I can give you more advice. But your main goal is to get as many predators in the tank as possible. There's no dipping or solution or medication that I know of that will kill nudibranchs or acropore eating flatworms. I know there's some stuff that they're working on, but excuse me. But yeah, so your goal is to isolate the coral in a quarantine tank and clean it, dip it as much as possible, try to get them off before they start eating the whole colony. So that's about the most advice I can give you. My overall advice, this kind of goes back to the beginning, is quarantining coral is very, very important. Unfortunately, Sean, you got the shitty end of the stick here. You got the really bad pests. Some people can get Aptasia or maybe a flatworm here and there, but you got the Montipore eating nudibranchs. So yeah, definitely quarantine from this point forward and chop it up as a lesson learned. Hopefully you can take care of it. Okay. Any idea why Xenia suddenly dies while everything else is okay? It's your cue to upgrade to bigger and better corals. That's why your tank's like, we don't need this shit anymore. Let's go ahead and upgrade to use something better. This Xenia sucks. I'm just kidding. Well, if, like I said earlier, I don't know how long you've been here, Mitch, but if everything else in the tank is fine and one coral's not happy and your nutrients are where they should be, you're not having any major fluctuations in alkalinity or anything crazy like that, I wouldn't worry about it. You can't make everything happy, but again, if 90% of the tank is fine, just leave it. Don't make any changes for one coral. It's just not worth it. And Sean says, I'm small tank. I have, let me, I'm going to read what you have in the other chat because I don't want to lose my spot on the other one. Let's see what he says here. Small tank. This is back to Sean with the Montipore eating nudibranchs. Small tank. I have one lazy wrasse. I don't have much Monty, so I might just wait till they starve to death. Setting up a quarantine system in the near future. Good idea. So yeah, if you don't have that much Monty, you can pull the Monty out, and you can try to save it in the quarantine tank. And then I wouldn't put any Monty in that original tank for at least 6 months. Just give it some time, man. You never know, right? So that's just my recommendation. I'm sure there's somebody out there who did the research on how long you have to wait after having a pest like that. But 6 months sounds like a pretty good number. And yeah, just quarantine from that point forward. Yeah. Good luck. Did you say you wanted to pet my dog? Your dog. Dog. Okay, serious question. Okay, here, guys. Here's Marcus with a serious question. Everybody hold on. Okay, serious question. I have never ordered livestock before. Nobody wants to ship on the weekends. Understandable. I never get home until late 6 or 7. Is it still is it still hot? Okay. In still hot. Okay. So all right. Nobody ships on the weekends because the shipping price, the price to ship on the weekends for Saturday or Sunday delivery is significantly higher than what it would be Monday through Friday, or sorry, Tuesday through Friday delivery. That's just the reality of it. As somebody who sells stuff and ships overnight, I don't want to spend more than I have to, especially when we're going to California. Like I shipped out somebody ordered a 300 pack, or sorry, $300 pack of coral with the 20 frags, which by the way, now it's back down to 15. Sorry about that, guys. But so I shipped it out to Northern California yesterday. Was $92 to ship overnight. It was free shipping because they paid 300. So you can see 20 corals, and I made like 200 bucks. I mean, I made like 200 bucks on them. So you could see how that could be. And if that was a Saturday, I could only imagine. And you got to think that was with almost 80% off overnight shipping through, because I have the percentage discount based on the business and the quantity I ship. So, but yeah, it was extremely expensive. So, yeah, weekends are usually not an option, and most companies won't do it. So, when it comes to getting home at 6 or 7, I know that my Air Saver delivers between noon and 6 p.m., and I recommend that for people who are going to be, there in the afternoon. If you're going to be there in the morning, you want to get the next day air, which does deliver before noon. Now, corals, depending on the coral and how the person packs it, I know for me, I use colder than ice um, ice packs. I use two for the bigger boxes, one for the smaller ones, and they tend to do pretty good. They're good for like 48 hours. But yeah, so it depends on where you get them from, what they put in there to keep the corals where they should be. But right now, I mean, if it's not like 80 or 90 degrees where you are, your coral should be okay. Again, depending on how they're packed. But you definitely don't want stuff sitting out on the porch for hours and hours and hours baking in the sun. So yeah, that's probably all I can really say about that. Um, yeah. Speaking of that, I got to check in with somebody who said that UPS delayed their shipment until tomorrow, which I absolutely can't stand, especially when I'm going to states. Like when I ship to New York State, for some reason, like towards the city, it's not all the time, but the majority of the time, there's definitely delays, and you could practically drive there in like a few hours. So I don't get it, but I could ship to California and that shit gets there on time. So yeah, I don't know. Let's see here. We're gonna do a few more minutes of this. We're almost at an hour already. Damn. Do you use lunar lighting on the AP9Xs? I'm wondering if it's worth it. No, I don't use the lunar lighting. Um, Matter of fact, I didn't even know it had that. I'm sure I bypassed that. I do have lunar lighting over the 300, which I bought through the Apex module, the lunar module through the Apex. Man, I forgot I still had that. But yeah, I do have lunar lighting. It's more for me. I don't really notice anything. I don't really notice any kind of spawning or coral differences or anything like that. It's more for me when I go down there. But because I don't really like my display tank right now because it's almost non-existent, there's almost nothing in it. I don't really look at the tank anymore, anyways. So yeah, yeah. But I mean, yeah. I mean, if you want to use it and you think it's gonna look cool and you want to see it at night, then do it up. Why not? All right. Let me see if we can get through these relatively quickly. We have 7 minutes left. Boo, 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 boo. Blue and white lights, LEDs only. Yeah. So if you want to get that par meter, it's a fluval tank. Yeah. So it's not really going to be high end lighting, but if you want to check the par, you can. But you should be pretty safe for probably basic SPS, basic Montes, and of course soft corals and LPS. You should be fine. Mm-mm. Doo-doo. Dude, that video scared our Reddit. Yeah, right. Let's see here. Are you not? Are you not entertained enough to hit the thumbs up? Right. That's okay, guys. I'm gonna cough here a second. Q-Ball says, do you find your Trident elk and Hannah elk are off by one? My Hannah is constantly higher, even by one after calibration. Um, I'm trying to think. I tested the other 2 weeks ago. I have to see. I have to check because I put it in the Apex. Um, but they're relatively close. I would say one is probably common for what I've seen in the past. I don't know why it's like that. I really, to be honest with you, when it comes to testing the alkalinity, as long as it's consistent and it's not at any extreme, I really don't worry about it too much. As long as it's not below 7 or really close to 7 or above 11 and close to 12. If one says 8 and one says 9 and they're staying consistent at those levels and not any major fluctuations, it's good enough for me. I'm not looking for perfection. I used to back in the day. I used to look for perfection on all that stuff, but that shit'll drive you crazy. Nobody wants a clam with pests. Man, Marcus, you're on a roll tonight. What are you smoking dope or something? All right, she's a Great Dane CrossFit girl. Cool. Anyways, yeah, yeah, I have St. George half Ironman next weekend. Good job, dude. Gonna go up to Mesa Verde. Pot's legal. Cool. Man, that's a hell of a. See, I want to do that stuff, but I don't like nature. And to be honest with you, Caleb, until I get the new house and that giant diesel backup generator, I can't do. I mean, I could go camping for like a day or two, but I have to come home in between to double check the tanks. Even with cameras set up, I mean, when I went to Vermont, I had 4 different cameras set up at different spots in the fish room, alarms and all sorts of stuff. It's really difficult, and that's one thing that I try to explain to people. When you get into this business, this hobby as a business, and you have to have that giant big old diesel generator or a generator that kicks on automatically, at least that if you plan on going anywhere for an extended period of time. So with that said, I don't really get out much. Plus the amount of work I have, I don't really get out anyways. But I got the gym and I got jujitsu, so that's a that's about it for my social life, and I don't talk to anybody at the gym. So, they make a powder to get crabs off your clam. Does that help? Oh, here, off topic. This is a good start. Okay, off topic, man. What? Let me read this again. Off topic, man. But what did you do in the military? I was a chair force in security forces. Well, I joined as a 19 kilo. So I wanted to, it was like Abrams, M1 Abrams tank crewman. Um, and I wanted to progress through the ranks to be a gunner on that. But it didn't work out because we ended up getting reclassed before Afghanistan as 11 Bravo. So I went and did infantry. And then I was a Mark 19 gunner on a Humvee in Afghanistan. And then um, when we did foot patrols was 249 Bravo. So machine gunner, so that was fun too. So when we did foot patrols, but yeah, that's what I did. It's all fun. It's kind of fun. It was a lot of fun. But Afghanistan's a pretty touchy subject, at least for me right now, and actually for probably the 800,000 Afghan veterans, it's probably a pretty touchy subject still. Just because people are ignoring it doesn't mean it goes away. But yeah. What the heck with all the peckers? I must have walked in on a wrong time. Dicks. We're all about dicks. Yeah. What sucks ass is stupid RTN. I think I'm gonna kill every acro I have. Well, what the heck are you doing, man? You check your power supply. I mean, we've all seen the Roast My Reef video with your awesome cable management and everything hanging in the sump and all that stuff in the tank. So maybe that plays a role in it, Caleb. So maybe you got some stray voltage. Anybody want to bet how much stray voltage Caleb has in his tank? All right, we're gonna answer a couple more of these, then we're gonna head out. We already answered that for Sean. Now we're shitty end of the dick stick. Okay, we're talking about dick still. Setting up a quarantine tank. We're good with that. I have the package held at local FedEx and get there before it closes the next day. But we use UPS. I'll recommend that to them. But they're gonna get it tomorrow. So I have a 40-gallon Red Sea 170. How big of a refugium would I need for it to be effective? 40-gallon. Well, if you're gonna include it into your sump, I would say no. I mean, 10 gallons would be fine, depending on how big your sump is. But yeah, I mean, you don't really need a huge refugium for a 40-gallon. I mean, I've seen hang on the back refugiums work perfectly fine for 40 gallons. You don't need nothing crazy. Obviously, the bigger the refugium, the better. But yeah, just use a portion of your sump. You should be fine. All right, we're gonna answer a couple more. We're gonna head out. Travis, I cleaned my skimmer and there are micro bubbles. Uh, Raising the water level did not help. Any suggestions? So you clean your skimmer and then there's micro bubbles. Um, Raising the water level did not help. Like micro bubbles getting out of the skimmer and going into the overflow. Try to answer that before I go any farther. Um, Sally. So you talk about like micro bubbles coming out of the return pump or something and getting into the return section. Because if that's the case, then you probably didn't put it back together the correct way. That's I've seen that a few times. It happens. But if there's just micro bubbles, I'm kind of waiting for an answer to come up here. But micro bubbles in general, in the cylinder itself is normal. I know when you clean it, you're gonna have to adjust it sometimes because there's like a coating and it can be dirty and nasty on the inside. So sometimes you have to adjust it. But if micro bubbles are getting into the sump around the skimmer because it's kind of falling out of the skimmer, then you probably didn't put it back together or you're missing something. Maybe a lot of skimmers have sponges and stuff like that at the output that prevents the micro bubbles. So just kind of maybe look around and maybe you didn't put it back together correctly. Um, would dying SPS colonies release significant nutrients in the water? I don't think so. I mean, they're dying. Of course, there's flesh and stuff coming out of them, but it's going to be nothing. It's not going to be anything crazy. You got to think the skeletal structure itself. I mean, it's only going to contribute to growing the reef. It's not going to release any nutrients. At least I wouldn't think it would. I don't foresee it doing anything like that. Over your burping, sorry guys. Um, Two little fishies reactor media as substrate for the main display. Good idea or bad idea? I mean, if you like the way it looks, it's probably fine, but that media is only going to break down when the pH is at a certain level. That's why it goes in the reactor. Um, I mean, you got to drop the pH low enough to even have it dissolve. So, I mean, if you like the way it looks, it's probably not a bad idea. I don't know how expensive that's going to be. Um, I'm sure that it could help as a buffer in general, just because of the type of medium what it's made out of. But I wouldn't consider it to help keep the tank elevated nutrients or sorry, elevated um, alkalinity or calcium just by sitting in the tank. It has to be in a lower pH environment to even break down. So, all right, I think we're good here, right? Trying to see if there's anything else I can pump through real quick. Uh, Sorry, guys, I'm over here coughing. Do you still need a helper in November? I have a few people who reached out to me. I have yet to really kind of talk about it too much. As we get closer to November, I'll bring it up probably when I make the video regarding the frag swap. But yeah, I'm still need a helper. I'm not. I need to figure out how I'm going to print enough stuff to bring with me. It's kind of I'll figure that out. But yeah, I'll do a video on it. Figure it out. Let's see what this will be the last question for tonight. Real question. My alkalinity is falling a little short. A little short. Is there any way I can raise it besides baking soda? Yeah. You can use Kalkwasser, you can put in your ATO. You can use 2-part. Those are two really common methods for beginners who are just kind of starting out with increasing nitrate or calcium alkalinity in their tank. If you got baller status and money and you really want to, you can get a calcium reactor, but it's probably not something I would recommend starting out. Yeah, Kalkwasser and your ATO is probably where I would start with that. But all right, guys, so that's it for the live stream. I'm gonna put up the one for next week. There will be a couple videos out next week. I don't know what it's gonna be yet. I'm gonna try to get one out Sunday, but yeah, that's about it. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the live stream. If you did, hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to become a member and use these pretty cool dick emojis. And I'll see you guys a couple days. All right, peace.